Hello and welcome to today's SCORE webinar, Targeting Customers and Competitors. This webinar is being presented by Sam Budarick, a business and career librarian at Chester County Library. I would like to thank you, Sam, for sharing this important information and trust all of you will find it helpful and informative. Next slide, Sam. My name is Leslie Swope, and I'm a volunteer with SCORE of Chester and Delaware counties. SCORE is a nonprofit organization that has been in existence for over 50 years and is a resource partner of the SBA. SCORE's mission is to foster a strong small business community by providing free mentorship and business education. We are here to support you and help you grow your business. Here in Chester and Delaware counties, we have 100 volunteers ready to help you. Our mentoring and most of our educational programs are free. You will find many tools, templates, and other business resources on our website resource library. Next slide. Targeting Customers and Competitors is a recorded webinar and will be made available to you after today's session. You've all been placed on mute, so we avoid any distractions. Sam will address your questions in the Q&A box during and after today's presentation. Please use the Q&A box for questions. Use the chat if you have a comment or a resource to share. Now I'd like to introduce our presenter, Sam Budarick. Sam is a SCORE volunteer and the business and career librarian at Chester County Library. She connects community members to the best databases, guides, books, community organizations, websites, and other resources available for starting or growing a business, navigating the job search, and building career skills. Now I'll turn it over to Sam.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So tonight I am going to talk about a database called Reference Solutions that is available through Chester County Library. And I'm also going to talk about other business resources available through the library. And we'll get into a demonstration of Reference Solutions so you can really see how it works and what you can do with the database, what questions it can answer for you. It's really good for getting lists of businesses. So whether you're a B2B, a business to business, or a business to customer business, this database can answer questions for you. So we'll take a look at it in a sample scenario. First, I'd like to get an idea of who is here tonight. If you could start the poll, there we go. Just let me know if you are a B2B, a B2C, or something else, just to get an idea of who's here tonight. So it looks like it's a good combination of B2B and B2C. So we'll talk about the parts of this database that are, excuse me, just ending this poll here. Okay, so we'll talk about all the parts of the database that can help with both types of businesses. Give me just a moment to switch over my screen. Okay, you should be seeing the Chester County Library Homes website. So this is ccls.org. Leslie, can you confirm that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And if you have a Chester County Library card, which you are eligible for if you live, work, own property, or go to school in Chester County, then you can access this database from home. If you're not eligible for a Chester County Library card, if you're in Delaware County or elsewhere in the state, there are other options for you, and I can talk about that later, but you can always come into the Chester County Library, any Chester County Library, to access these databases on site. To get to Reference Solutions, I'm going to go to our resources, and when I hover over that, on the left-hand side, there's a Business and Career Center, and you can go straight to business. And then Reference Solutions is a database, so we're going to click on the databases link and just scroll down. It's the Reference Solutions is the first database listed here. Again, you can search for business information, demographic, customer information, and you can use the two together, which we're going to take a look at. I do want to point out these step-by-step guides that are linked to in the description. I created these guides, they're PDFs. They're basically what I'm going over tonight. So you can refer back to them after the webinar and as you're going in and taking a look at this database so that you can use it for to answer your own questions. So when you click on Reference Solutions, this is the home page. I had logged into, I'm working from home, and I had logged into the database earlier. If the first time you log in, it's going to ask for your Chester County Library card number, and it will ask you to accept their terms and conditions before bringing you to this page. Those are normal pages to get. On this homepage, you'll see a lot of different modules here. We're going to focus on the U.S. businesses. Again, we're looking for a list of businesses that we either want to get a competitor list for, or if you're a B2B business, a list of customers. And then the consumers lifestyles module. This is for when you're a B2C business. So we'll look at demographics, getting a profile of the types of people who are interested in your product or service using that module. Any questions so far about how we got here, or just the basics of the database?
I don't see any at this time.
Okay. Now, before we get into those modules, I do want to point out that you can create a personal account. This is free. The only difference between using a personal account and using the database without one is that you can save searches. So if you're doing multiple searches, if you're trying to compare different criteria, having a personal account is easy. It makes that easier. So you don't have to put in all the criteria every single time. It's just going to ask for an email address and a password.
We
Your
do have
question?
a couple of questions.
Okay.
So one is, will you share the decks and links? Yes, we will be sharing that after. And then in the chat we have, can you list how you got there again? And what about people who are out of state? Do all libraries have these resources?
Well, so I'll take the second part first, and then I'll go over how to get here again. If you are out of state, you'll have to check with your local library to see if they have access to it. Not every library has Reference Solutions. They might have similar databases though, so it would be good to check with your local library and the librarians there to see what type of market research database they have. There are other competitors to this database that exist, and you'll just have to check with your local library. I will say if you're out of county, if you're just out of Chester County, but still within the state of Pennsylvania, go to the Free Library of Philadelphia or the Carnegie Library in Pittsburgh. You don't have to, well, you don't have to physically go there, go to their websites and you can apply for a free library card. They have special licenses where anyone in the state can get access to their databases, and both of those libraries have Reference Solutions. Again, that's the Free Library of Philadelphia and the Carnegie Library in Pittsburgh. And then to get, again, to get to this database, starting at ccls.org, which stands for Chester County Library System. And then under our resources, I went to the business part of the Business and Career Center. And the first link here for books, magazines, and databases, I went to where it says link to page. And then you can just scroll down to the databases section to click on Reference Solutions. Any other questions?
I don't see anything right now.
So now that we're in the database, maybe we have a personal account. We're going to pretend that as I'm using this database, I want to open up a pet shop. So I want to first find my competitors in the area. Let's say the area that I'm searching is going to be Chester and Delaware counties, just as an example. So if I want to find my competitors, I'm going to go to the U.S. Businesses module. And I'm going to go straight to the advanced search. There are reasons to use the quick search, but there are a lot of different things in reference solutions, and a lot of the information I'm going to talk about, it can seem a little overwhelming. So I'm happy to answer questions and go back over things. So I went to US Businesses and Advanced Search. On the left-hand side are all the criteria you can search by. There's a lot of information here. The two most common that people use are what geographic area you're interested in. If you don't put one, it's going to search the entire country, which depending on your question might be applicable. But you can also do radius from a certain address. So if you want like 5 miles from your house or from a location where you're thinking of opening a brick and mortar store, you can search for that. You can search by entire states, just cities, and counties. There's a lot of options here. For our example search, I'm going to check the box for county, and it opens up a corresponding box in the middle where you can actually put the county information that you're interested in. So when I click on select Pennsylvania, it'll come up with all the counties, and you can either type in the county you're interested in, or you can just manually click it from the list here. And you can click on multiple ones. So I'm just going to do Chester and Delaware counties for now. The options that I chose are in this box on the right here. That shows that I'm searching for businesses in Chester and Delaware counties. So a geographic area is one of the two most common criteria that people use. The other is the type of business. Using keywords, you can find lists of businesses by type. You can also do the SIC and NAICS codes. For those of you who are not familiar with SIC and NAICS, in a nutshell, they are the two systems of federal codes that are used to categorize types of businesses. The reason that there are two is one was created earlier and it wasn't designed to incorporate the types of businesses that exist today, like e-commerce and that sort of thing. And that's where NAICS comes in. It was created later and it was designed to be expandable. For some industries, SIC works better. For some industries, NAICS works better. It just depends. Do some searching and play around with their searches, save your searches. That's when the personal account can come into play, and just do some comparisons between the two. It varies quite a bit. So when I click on the box for keyword SIC and NAICS, it opens up a corresponding box in the middle where I can put in the keyword to search for types of businesses. So I want to look for competitors for my pet store that I'm trying to open. So when I search the keyword for pet store, it comes up pet shops is the matching category or industry and code. Luckily, you don't need to know the code numbers. And again, here you can also choose multiple ones if applicable. There are a lot of other options on the left-hand side, as you can see as I'm scrolling. Again, these are the two most common, the geography and the keyword. You can also search by, limit your search to number of employees, under 10 or over 100. Only by sales volume. So you only want to look for competitors who are under over a certain amount or within a certain range. You can always take a look at this on your own. Any questions about creating a search in the US Businesses module?
I don't see any at this time.
So once you have your criteria, you can update the count using the blue button at the top right here, and it'll show you how many records are matching your search. So right now it's telling me that there are 50 businesses in Chester and Delaware counties that have this pet shop code attached to them on the federal level. And that'll just give you a quick number so you know if you're working with only 2 and you want to expand your search, or if you're working with thousands and you want to narrow your search a little bit. You can do it right on this page. When you're ready, you can click View Results, and it's going to give a table of the businesses that match your search. And you can click on any of these names. There are visualizations that we'll take a look at up here, and that's the visualization features, the charts and the maps and everything are what make this database really useful. And I also want to point out at the top right here, hopefully you can see my mouse. But you can save the search at the top right if you create that personal account.
Sam, there is a question. How
Okay.
accurate and current up to date is this database tool? Is it
Yes.
reliable for having current information?
Yes, they update each business's profile at least once a year, and they do manual phone calls at least once a year to the businesses to manually confirm the information that they have. And some of the information you'll see will be in ranges based on public records. Some information will be exact numbers based on, I guess, that phone call that they make to confirm information. Reference Solutions is owned by a company called Data Axle, and Data Axle has access to over 5,000 different sources that feed the information within this database. So it's updated at least once a year from various public and private sources of information. Any other questions?
No, we're good. They just said thank you.
Okay. So we'll take a look at those charts and maps in a second, but when you click on the name of any of these businesses, it'll bring you to a profile and it'll give you as much information as the database has. So sometimes it'll give a website, and sometimes it'll even give social media information, the links to that, like general contact information, all the codes that are attached to this business, so both the SIC and NAICS code. So we see pet shops here, which is the one that we searched for in SIC. And then it'll give some of the demographics that it has. This one happens to have particular numbers for the sales volume, exact number for employees, and then a range here for square footage. So you can get it'll show you as many fields as it has the information for. Ranges for business expenditures, then a sales volume chart, employee size by year, business history, lots of information is the point I'm trying to get across here. It'll have a competitors report, so and then general nearby businesses. So there's a lot of information here that you can take a look at. I am going to go back to our search results so that we can take a look at those visualization features. The heat map will put on a map where the hotspots are based on location or the number of employees and sales volume. It'll show you the hottest spots where the highest concentration of those locations are. And the red spots that we're seeing here are in Kennett Square, Malvern, and Wayne, and a little bit south of Wayne as well. So that's where the most pet shops are in Chester and Delaware counties, are those red spots. And then we're seeing green spots close to Philly and down along the main line, Westchester. So this is where they're located. So you can use this database to say, okay, there's a lot of green and yellow spots here. Maybe it would make sense to open up there because there's not as much competition. And then we'll take a look at the consumers module and see how that can add more nuance to the questions that we're answering. And I will point out, you can print and download these maps, these visualizations using the two buttons at the top right. And that can be really helpful if you're writing your business plan. You can use these visualizations just right from the download button, and you can put it into your business plan, your marketing plan, or whatever documentation you have. And there are even citations on the page that you can copy and use in your documents. Okay, so that's the heat map. And then the summary is basically going to be a table that can be as broad or as granular as you'd like. So we'll just do sales. We'll choose one item at the top. It's just going to be 2 columns here showing that there are 14 businesses that make between $500,000 and $1 million. So it's just breaking down the information a little bit more. This happens to be in the sales. It's breaking it down by sales range, and you can click on any of these rows to get the list of those 14 businesses. So you can see them, you can map them, just those 14 or just those 13. And the more options you choose up here, the more columns you'll get. So this is where you can get really, really detailed. So there are 2 businesses in 19355 area code that have 1 to 4 employees that make less than $500,000. So you can, if you know your general target, you know what your target employee size is, you know what your target sales range is, you can really get down and drill down to who your competitors are, where they're located by zip code or by the other demographics here. And then the final visualization is the charts, which is basically going to be the same information, but in pie charts and bar graphs, which again, you can download, you can save them, you can print them, and you can cite them. So it's showing that the most pet shops are located in Malvern and Westchester. And again, you can click on these numbers to see those particular ones. And this is by city. You can also do it by zip code, by sales volume, and by employee size. So just lots of interesting features. I know this is a lot of information. Again, have any questions so far?
Do we have any questions? I don't see any. Let me see if anybody wants to put any in. Not right now.
And if you are a B2B business where you're looking to sell to pet stores or that sort of thing, you can use these features, these data visualizations to answer questions like, where should you target for advertising? Where we saw those hotspots on the map, maybe that would be a good place to advertise, or those zip codes might be a particular area to send out mailings to. You can use the addresses that are in the table, in the results table here, because you can download this table as well with as much or as little information fields as you want. There's the download button here, and you can download up to 25 records at a time, but unlimited number of download files.
So Sam, here's a question. Can we get assistance from the library? So I think you'll be giving them all your information.
Oh, yes, absolutely. If you want to sit down with me, I do appointments via Zoom, and I'll list my slides, have my contact information. I'll show you that after the demonstration. But yes, I'm absolutely available to talk with you individually and take a look at this database again with your particular questions in mind. Okay, so that's the businesses module, which again, you can use as a B2B business or B2C if you're looking for your competitors. To get back to the home page, you can just click on Data Axle Reference Solutions at the top left. And now we'll take a look at the Consumers Lifestyles module. And this is where the B2C businesses can get their customer demographic information. So again, I'm going to click on that module. I'm going to go straight to advanced search, and we're going to see a very similar template here, where all the criteria you can search by is on the left-hand side. And when you check off a box, it'll open the corresponding box in the middle. So from our search before, we want Chester and Delaware counties. So what we're searching for now is not businesses, but people. So I'm just going to put in people in Chester and Delaware counties. And then again, there are a lot of criteria and options on the left-hand side, but there's 2 most common: the location and then the lifestyles. So when you click on lifestyles, it's going to come up with a predetermined list of different categories for types of services and products. So you want to find the one that's most closely matches what you're looking for. And it's not going to have everything that you might want. I've certainly had questions from people where a category just doesn't fit what they're looking for. So we look at other options. But it does have a lot of information that can be helpful. And you can break it down even further. So since I'm, for example, opening up a pet shop, I can take a look at this category. I can do general pets here, or I can just do the entire category pets, animals. So what this search would be doing now is searching for people in Chester and Delaware counties who are interested in pet products. And this is again based on 5,000 different resources that Data Axle uses to feed their database. I'll point out also, so there's a bunch of categories here. There's one for purchase behavior. So people who are bargain seekers, credit card users, internet purchasers. So there's a few different here that you can take a look at. And then there's also one for charitable donor. So you can search for a list of people who historically have been donors or who are likely to be donors, just depending on what you're looking for.
So Sam, there's still a question about, so to be clear, I have a Delco library card, but not eligible for a Chester County card. I can access through new personal accounts, creating an account, or get a free card from Philadelphia or Carnegie libraries.
Yeah, it would have to be, you would have to get the card from the Free Library of Philadelphia or the Carnegie Library and then access it through their website. So at the beginning, when we went to ccls.org, that would be for someone who has a Chester County Library card. If you have a Free Library of Philadelphia card, you would go to their databases list on their website, and their librarians can help. If you have trouble finding it, I mean, I can meet with you, and you can send me an email and I can send you all the links to that. But their librarians can help you find where their databases are as well. It's just because you'd have to go in from the particular library you have the card with, because that's how it's going to recognize that you have access to that database because you have the card. Hope that makes sense.
What was the new personal accounts? I guess
that was just an option once you're already in with your library card. So it's a separate thing. The personal account is once you've logged in with your library card, you would just create a personal account that's basically kind of attached to your library card that you can log into from a library computer, then another computer. You can log into any computer and it'll have your searches saved. So the searches that we've done here, if you wanted to save that search that was the pet store search in the businesses module, you want to save that search of your competitors. You can do that with a personal account, but it's something that's on top of having the library card. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And then there's also still, perhaps you already answered this, but will other states be able to utilize this resource? I'm in California.
Yes, it just depends on you. It's a nationwide database, so it just depends on if your local library happens to have this database or another market research database. So you'd have to check with your local library. Anything else?
Nope.
So our search now is searching for people in Chester and Delaware counties. I have that up here, who are interested in pet products because planning to open a pet store. So when I update the count, it's showing that there are about 76,000 people who are interested in pet products. When I view the results, it's going to give me a table. And yes, you are going to see names attached to addresses and some phone numbers. The database does give you a little warning up here that the telephone numbers might be on a do not call list, so they shouldn't be used for marketing, but you can certainly use the addresses to send mailings to. Although I do think that the biggest part of, or the most important part of using this database are the visualization features. So the heat map is just like with the businesses, going to show you where these people are located in Chester and Delaware counties. So of course we're seeing a high concentration right next to Philly and Delaware County. We're seeing a lot of people down the main line, up in Phoenixville, Westchester, Kennett Square. So Westchester, I believe, trying to remember now which businesses had the red spots on the map. So there was a little red spot in, I think, Westchester, up in Malvern, and in Wayne. But we're seeing a lot of red spots for people who are interested in pet products in Phoenixville, down the main line, all down here, Kennett Square, West Grove, Oxford. So what you can do with this is say, okay, compare this heat map to where the competitors were and answer questions like, is there too much competition in a certain area, or is there enough interest from on the consumer side in a certain area where it makes sense to open up a business. So there's a lot, so using the two modules, the businesses and the consumer module together, especially when you're a B2C business, can really add nuance to how you can use this information to answer questions about your business and your marketing and that sort of thing.
So a couple questions, Sam.
Mhm.
Do we have to be physically at the library, not via internet at home? Is one question.
If you don't have a Chester County Library card, yes, you would have to you can come into any Chester County library to get
Okay.
access to this database, or your local library if they have it, if you're not in the area.
And then can we access consumer emails?
No, the Reference Solutions does, let me go back here. It does have, it'll tell you how many email addresses it has access to, but you would have to contact Reference Solutions directly and pay for that email list. It would only, the information that's available through the library for free is the physical mailing list. Anything else?
Not right. Something just popped up. Okay, thanks. All right, we're good.
Okay. So we saw the heat map, and then the charts are again going to be pie charts and bar graphs. So it'll show estimated home value, estimated home income of the people who are interested in pet products. So you can get a consumer profile here, essentially. You can do it by city. So as we saw on the heat map, there's a big red spot in Westchester. So you can do maybe some advertising in that area. You can open up in that area. You can do mailings if you want to target even specific zip codes, because you can get the charts for the zip code. So if you want to just go to the post office and say, okay, I want to do mailings to people in 19380 area code, you can do that because you know that that's the area code that has the most people who are interested in pet products in the area. Lots of information, lots of things that you can do with it. And then the last visualization is the summary. In the US Businesses module, the summary was a chart where you can get as granular or as broad as you want. Because we're dealing with people now and not businesses, it's going to be a line graph. And this is where the demographics, other demographics come in. So you can choose from this list on the left-hand side. You can look at age, you can look at home value, income, veteran, grandparent presence, occupation, religion, language, gender, and so on. So you can choose any of those, and it's basically going to show you the breakdown of the people in Chester and Delaware counties who are interested in pet products. So it's showing that the most people are actually 75 plus. The highest amount of people who are interested in those products are 75 plus, and then 60 to 64 and 65 to 69. Now, and you'll notice that there's a big dip here in the 65 plus, and then it actually breaks down 65 plus. My theory is that it's because some of the research that the database uses as its sources, their market surveys only have 65 plus, and some market surveys do continue to break it down. So I just take the 65 plus and pretend it's in the, that number is in the right hands in the categories on the right hand side. I hope that made sense. But it shouldn't be too concerning that there's this big dip here. You can just kind of collate it into the other numbers. So basically this line chart is showing you the demographics. And again, you can do that for a whole host of demographics, and you can even cross compare. So if you want to do age and let's do income. So it's going to do a whole lot of lines now because it's showing the different age ranges and the different income breakdown. So it's basically saying that the people who are interested in pet products in Chester and Delaware counties are between 60 and 64 who make an income between 100 and 125,000. And then it breaks down from there. And again, they just like the other visualizations, it has on the top right these download and print icons, and thought it would have. Okay, so it has the download and print icons so that you can use it in your documents. Those are the three visualization features, and if you're a data nerd, you can really get lost in this. I know I like looking at the different comparisons. So there's a lot of information here, and it just depends on what questions you have. But that, as me and my example of opening up a pet store, it's just showing me who my target audience most likely is, between 55 and 59, 60 and 64, the ages, and 100 to 125,000. So it gives me an idea of maybe how to price things, who to target, where to target them, and to use other information outside of this database even to help answer the questions that I have for opening my business. Any questions about that or anything that we've gone over so far?
Any questions? Don't see any at this time.
That was the demonstration of this database. I only went through 2 of the modules, but it's probably enough information. I will say you can go into the historical businesses module and look up, businesses that have closed. That can be good. The one example that I like to say that people can use that database for is to see, okay, how many pet stores have closed in the area? Is there a trend where just all the pet stores are closing and it might not make sense for me to open a pet store, or whatever the case may be. But there are other modules here, and we can certainly talk about those, but I really just wanted to highlight the businesses and the consumers module for customers and competitors.
Here's a question. What is the US consumers listed under again?
So the module from the homepage, is that, I'm not sure.
The US consumers.
Yeah, so the US consumers lifestyles is the one that we just took a look at, where you could find the demographics of people who are interested in this, in your type of product or service, basically. And it's all part of Reference Solutions as a whole. Not sure if that was the question.
Yeah, I think that was.
Okay. So that's the database. I would like to switch my screen back to my slides. Give me just a moment. Should be seen. Okay. So my information is on the screen now, and I think it will be sent to you as well. So my email address, you can email me. You can go to the tiny.cc to schedule a virtual appointment with me, and they're free, confidential, personalized appointments where you can have your particular questions, and we can look at the database and see how we can answer them. Typically 30 to 60 minutes, just taking another look at, well, Reference Solutions, because that's the one that I talked about, but not just Reference Solutions, any resources that either the library has or other organizations have that I can refer you to answer your questions.
So when there is a question, is this not on a regular website available to us outside of the library?
Reference Solutions, no, it is a subscription only. So the library pays for it so that you don't have to, because it is very expensive. And these are some of the other resources. I know this is a very busy slide, but ccls.org/366 is where you can directly get to that business page, where we have a lot of other resources, including the databases. So that link is here. if you want to get to Reference Solutions or any of our other resources. We have other databases, including example business plans that you can take a look at. So you can find other pet store business plans and see what information did they use, what market information did they use that you might not have thought of, and then you can go to Reference Solutions to get that information essentially to answer your market questions or whatever a loan company is whatever information a loan company might be looking for in order to give you that loan. That's what Reference Solutions can provide on the market data side. We also have Cisco Networking Academy, which is free. This is one thing you don't need a library card for. You can just get to it from the Business Center website, where you can take self-paced courses in a few different topics. So you can learn, self-teach yourself, basically cybersecurity, Python, C++, and JavaScript, and a few other things. So just to build your skills, your tech skills especially. And then you can find us in a variety of ways, keep up with our information through our monthly newsletter and through social media. All the links are on here. And again, these slides should be emailed to you.
Yes.
Are there, sorry?
They will be.
Okay, great. So again, my contact information is here. Happy to sit down with anyone or answer any emails with any questions. But are there any questions now?
Any questions? Thank you. Thank you.
Great. I know it was a lot of information, but that's just the database. That's just the world of starting a business. So hopefully this was helpful.
Do you want to go to the next slide then? So Sam, thanks for all that great information. There were lots of questions. I think people are very interested, as we could tell from the questions. And as we mentioned several times, you will get this recorded webinar with the information following the webinar. So we just want to let you know that SCORE is here to help you with your next steps. Please reach out to your SCORE mentor for support. You're not alone in this process. If you don't have a SCORE mentor, please use that contact information to request one. You can call that phone number and speak with Catherine Weissenberger. She's our office administrator. And this also will be included in a follow-up. Great, thanks so much. So that's a wrap for us today. But I do want to thank Sam again. I think from all the questions, there's a lot of interest, and thank you for sharing how this can help everyone out there. So, all right, everyone have a great night, and we'll hopefully see you at another webinar. Thank you.